Elena sat on the edge of her bed, staring out the window at the fading sunset. The vibrant colors of orange and pink filled the sky, but they only reminded her of the emptiness in her heart. Just a few months ago, she had shared countless sunsets with Lyra, her best friend who had moved away to a distant planet. Now, the distance between them felt like an ocean, deep, and Lyra was a Zathri, a species known for their beautiful, flowing tentacles that shimmered like jewels in the water. They had met during Elena's mission on Zather Prime, where she had first marveled at Lyra's grace and charm. Their friendship had blossomed quickly, filled with laughter and adventure. They explored coral reefs, shared stories, and even faced dangers together. But when Lyra received an urgent call to return to her homeworld, everything changed. Elena remembered the day Lyra had to leave. They stood by the water's edge, the waves gently lapping at their feet. Lyra's tentacles danced in the breeze as she tried to hold back tears. "I'll miss you, Elena," she had said, her voice filled with sorrow. "You are my best friend." "I'll miss you too," Elena replied, feeling a lump in her throat. "But we'll find a way to stay in touch, I promise." But promises felt empty now. Despite their best intentions, days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into months without a single message. Elena tried to reach out, sending messages across the galaxy, but each time she faced silence. The distance felt insurmountable, and her heart ached with loneliness. One evening, as Elena sat in her room, she decided she couldn't let the silence continue. She picked up her communicator, her heart racing with hope and fear. What if Lyra had forgotten her? What if her friend didn't want to talk anymore? With trembling fingers, she typed a simple message. "Hey, Lyra, it's Elena. Miss you. Can we talk?" She hesitated for a moment, then pressed send. Days passed with no response. Each time Elena checked her communicator, disappointment washed over her. She felt as if she were shouting into a void. But deep down, she knew Lyra was out there, and she refused to give up hope. One night, while lying in bed, Elena remembered a beautiful underwater cave they had explored together. It was a magical place filled with glowing creatures and ancient Zathari artifacts. She had felt so close to Lyra there, as if nothing could separate them. A spark ignited in her mind. What if she went to Zather Prime? What if she could find Lyra in person and remind her of their friendship? The idea filled Elena with a sense of purpose. She quickly began to prepare for the journey, researching the quickest route to Zather Prime. She gathered supplies, packed her bags, and felt her excitement grow. This was her chance to reconnect with Lyra, to show her that their friendship was strong enough to overcome any distance. After days of traveling through space, Elena finally arrived at Zather Prime. The planet was as beautiful as she remembered, with vibrant coral reefs and shimmering waters. But instead of joy, she felt a wave of anxiety. What if Lyra didn't want to see her? What if she had moved on? Determined, Elena made her way to the underwater cave they had explored together. As she swam through the coral, memories flooded. Back, the laughter, the shared secrets, the adventures. When she reached the entrance of the cave, her heart raced. She took a deep breath and entered. Inside, the cave was illuminated by the soft glow of bioluminescent creatures. The beauty was breathtaking, but Elena's mind was focused on one thing: finding Lyra. She called out, her voice echoing through the water. "Lyra, can you hear me?" At first, there was silence. The water was calm, and Elena felt a twinge of doubt creeping in. But then, from the shadows, she saw a figure emerge. Lyra appeared, her tentacles flowing gracefully behind her. Elena's heart leaped with joy. "Lyra!" she exclaimed, swimming towards her friend. Lyra's eyes widened in surprise and delight. "Elena, You came." Lyra's voice was filled with emotion. "I can't believe it." They embraced, and Elena felt the warmth of Lyra's presence wash over her. It was as if no time had passed at all. "I missed you so much," Elena said, pulling back to look at Lyra's face. "I was worried you wouldn't want to see me again." Lyra shook her head, her tentacles shimmering in the cave's glow. "I could never forget you. I've been so busy with my duties, but I thought of you every day. I'm so glad you're here." Elena smiled, feeling a weight lift from her heart. They spent hours in the cave, sharing stories and laughter, just like old times. Lyra showed Elena new wonders of their world, and together they explored the depths of the cave, rediscovering their bond as the sun began to set outside, painting the water with golden hues. Elena turned to Lyra. "You know, I always thought your tentacles were beautiful," she said softly. "But being here with you, seeing your spirit, that's what makes you truly shine." Lyra's eyes sparkled with joy and surprise. "No one has ever called my tentacles beautiful before." "Thank you, Elena. That means so much to me." In that moment, Elena understood that their friendship was not just about distance or appearances. It was about connection and love. They had faced the challenges of separation, but they had come through stronger as they swam together. Elena felt a sense of hope and possibility. No matter how far apart they were, they could always find a way back to each other. Their friendship was a bridge across the galaxy, uniting them despite the vastness of space. And as they watched the sunset from the underwater cave, Elena realized that beauty was not just a trait. It was the bond they shared and the memories they created together. In that moment, she knew that no matter where life took them, they would always be connected. Lyra smiled at her, and for the first time in a long while, Elena felt whole again. After their joyful reunion in the underwater cave, Elena felt a renewed sense of hope. She and Lyra had spent hours together, exploring the wonders of Zather Prime, sharing stories and laughing as they reminisced about their adventures. But as the sun set and the stars began to twinkle above, Elena realized that Lyra would soon have to return to her duties. The thought of losing her friend again filled Elena with sadness. The next day, after a night filled with laughter and warmth, Elena and Lyra swam to the surface to watch the sunrise. The sky was painted in hues of orange and pink, reminding Elena of the countless sunsets she had shared with Lyra. As they floated on the water's surface, Elena turned to her friend. "I don't want this to end," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. "I've missed you so much. I don't know how to go back to just messages and silence." Lyra sighed, her tentacles swirling gently in the water. "I feel the same way, Elena. My duties are important, but I never felt complete without you. I wish there was a way to stay connected, no matter where we are." Elena nodded, her mind racing with possibilities. What if we created a way to communicate that goes beyond messages? Something special that reminds us of each other? Lyra's eyes lit up with excitement. "That sounds amazing. We could create a friendship ritual, something that keeps our bond alive even when we're apart." Inspired, they began to brainstorm ideas. They decided to use the unique resources of Zather Prime to create a special token that represented their friendship. Lyra suggested using bioluminescent shells, which glowed in the dark and were abundant in the underwater caves. They could decorate the shells with symbols that represented their shared experiences. With determination, they set off on an adventure to find the perfect shells. They swam through colorful coral reefs, searching for the brightest, most beautiful shells they could find. As they collected the shells, they laughed and joked, their friendship growing stronger with every shared moment. Once they had gathered enough shells, they returned to the cave to create their tokens. Lyra used her tentacles to carefully carve symbols into the shells, an anchor for their adventures, a wave for the ocean, and a star for the dreams they shared. Elena added her own touch with a small heart, symbolizing their bond. As they worked, Elena felt a sense of joy and purpose. "This will remind us of our friendship whenever we look at it," she said, beaming. "No matter how far apart we are, we'll always have this connection." Lyra smiled, her tentacles glowing softly in the dim light of the cave. "And we can each keep one. Whenever we feel lonely or distant, we just need to look at it, and it will bring us back to this moment." After hours of crafting, they finally held their completed shells in their hands. The tokens glowed gently, illuminating their faces with a warm light. Elena felt a swell of happiness. "These are perfect. I'll treasure mine always." Lyra nodded, her eyes shining. "Me too. This will be our way of reminding each other that we're never truly alone." As they prepared to part ways once again, Elena felt a mixture of sadness and hope. "Promise me we'll always find a way to stay in touch," she said, her voice trembling. "I promise," Lyra replied, her tone serious. "No matter what happens, we will always be connected. Our friendship is stronger than distance." With their tokens in hand, they shared one last embrace, feeling the warmth of their bond. "I'll see you soon," Elena whispered, though she didn't know when that would be. As Lyra swam away, Elena felt the ache of separation return, but this time it was different. She held the glowing shell tightly in her hand, feeling its warmth and the connection to her friend. The sadness was still there, but it was mixed with hope. They had found a way to bridge the distance, and that gave her strength. Back on her ship, the Starfinder, Elena placed. Elena stood on the deck of her ship, the Starfinder, gazing out at the endless expanse of stars. The recent cultural exchange program had been a huge success, and she felt a deep sense of accomplishment. Humans and Zathari had come together, building friendships and understanding where once there had been distance and misunderstanding. But even with this success, a familiar ache tugged at her heart. She missed Lyra more than ever. It had been months since their last adventure together on Zathar Prime. Though they stayed in touch through messages, it wasn't the same as being side by side, exploring the wonders of their worlds. The glowing shell that Lyra had given her sat on her desk, shining softly in the dim light, a constant reminder of their bond. Yet Elena couldn't shake the feeling of loneliness that crept. And during the quiet moments, one evening, as she prepared to send another message to Lyra, Elena paused. She wanted to share her thoughts and feelings, but felt stuck. What could she say that would truly express how much she missed her friend? She sighed, resting her head on her hand as she stared at the screen. Suddenly, an idea sparked in her mind. What if she could show Lyra how much she cared, rather than just tell her? Elena jumped up, her heart racing with excitement. She decided to plan a surprise visit to Zathar Prime. This time, she would not just rely on messages. She would show Lyra that their friendship meant the world to her. She quickly began to make arrangements for the trip, contacting friends and allies who could help her get there. The thought of seeing Lyra again filled her with joy and anticipation. The next few days were a whirlwind of activity as Elena prepared for her journey. She gathered supplies, packed her bags, and plotted her route. Each step brought her closer to the moment she would finally be reunited with Lyra. Her heart raced at the thought of embracing her friend again and exploring the vibrant underwater world together. As she traveled through space, Elena reflected on their friendship. It had started as a simple connection during a mission, but it had grown into something incredible. They had faced challenges together, learned from each other, and created memories that would last a lifetime. This trip was not just about seeing Lyra. It was about celebrating their bond and proving that distance could never break it. After what felt like an eternity, Elena arrived at Zathar Prime. The planet was just as beautiful as she remembered. The coral reefs glimmered beneath the surface, and the colors were vibrant and alive. As she piloted her ship closer to the underwater city, excitement bubbled inside her. She could hardly wait to see Lyra again. Elena docked her ship and quickly swam towards the underwater entrance of the city. The familiar sights and sounds filled her with nostalgia. She could hardly believe she was back in this magical place. As she approached the coral archway that led into the city, her heart raced. She hoped Lyra would be there, waiting for her. She entered the city. The vibrant community was bustling with activity. Zathari of all shapes and sizes swam gracefully through the water, their tentacles flowing like ribbons in the gentle current. Elena felt a sense of awe at the beauty around her, but she was focused on one thing, finding Lyra. Lyra, she called, her voice echoing through the water. Are you here? At first, there was no response. Elena's heart sank, but she refused to give up. She continued to swim through the city, calling for her friend. Just as she was about to lose hope, she turned a corner and spotted a familiar figure. There was Lyra, her tentacles shimmering in the sunlight, surrounded by a group of Zathari. Lyra! Elena exclaimed, swimming towards her. Lyra turned, and her eyes widened in shock and delight. Elena! You came! Lyra gasped, her voice filled with joy. She swam forward, wrapping her tentacles around Elena in a warm embrace. The feeling of being together again was overwhelming, and Elena felt tears of happiness welling up in her eyes. I wanted to surprise you, Elena said, pulling back to look at Lyra's face. I missed you so much and couldn't wait any longer. Lyra's eyes sparkled with emotion. I can't believe you're here. This is amazing. She glanced at the group of Zathari around her, who were watching curiously. Everyone, this is my best friend Elena. The Zathari greeted Elena with smiles and waves, welcoming her back to their world. Lyra introduced her to the community, and Elena felt a rush of warmth. She was no longer just an outsider. She was part of something. Beautiful Dot, as the day went on, Elena and Lyra explored the underwater city together. They swam through colorful coral gardens, visited vibrant markets, and dined on delicious Zathari delicacies. Laughter filled the water as they shared stories of their adventures since they last met. Elena told Lyra about the success of the cultural exchange program, and Lyra shared tales of her duties and challenges back home. Your program really brought us closer together, Lyra said, her voice filled with pride. You've shown everyone that friendship can overcome any barrier. Elena smiled, feeling a sense of purpose. I couldn't have done it without you. You inspired me to keep pushing forward. As night fell, the underwater city glowed with bioluminescent lights, creating a magical atmosphere. Elena and Lyra found a quiet spot near the entrance of the cave where they had created their friendship tokens. They sat together on a smooth rock, watching the glowing aquatic life dance around them. I'm so glad we're together again, Lyra said, her voice soft. It feels like nothing has changed, yet everything is different. Elena nodded, understanding what Lyra meant. Their friendship had grown stronger, and they had both changed in their own ways. I think we've both learned how to bridge the distance between us. No matter where we are, we can always find a way back to each other. Lyra smiled, her tentacles shimmering in the soft light. You're right. Our bond is unbreakable, and I will always cherish the time we have together. As they sat in comfortable silence, Elena took out the glowing shell she had kept with her. I brought this to remind me of you, she said, holding it up. It represents our friendship. Lyra's eyes widened with joy as she recognized the shell. I remember when we made these. It's beautiful. I've kept mine close too. Elena felt a warmth in her heart. No matter how far apart we are, this will always remind us of our connection. As the stars twinkled overhead, Elena realized that distance couldn't diminish the love and friendship they shared. They had both made sacrifices to maintain their bond, and their efforts had paid off. In that moment, she felt a sense of hope. For the future, let's promise to always find a way to stay connected, Elena said, looking into Lyra's eyes. No matter what challenges come our way. I promise, Lyra replied, her voice steady and sincere. We are friends for life, no matter the distance. As they sat together, surrounded by the beauty of Zather Prime, Elena felt a surge of hope. She knew that their friendship would continue to thrive, no matter where their journeys took them. They had built a bridge across the galaxy, one that would carry them through the challenges of life. And as the soft light of the glowing shell illuminated their faces, Elena smiled, knowing that love and friendship would always light the way. After their joyous reunion, Elena and Lyra spent several weeks together on Zather Prime, exploring the underwater city and deepening their friendship. Every day was filled with laughter, adventure, and shared dreams. But even as they enjoyed their time together, the reality of Lyra's duties loomed over them. Lyra had responsibilities that would eventually call her away again, and Elena couldn't shake the feeling of sadness that crept in whenever she thought about it. One afternoon, as they swam through a vibrant coral garden, Elena noticed Lyra gazing at the shimmering fish darting around them. Lyra seemed lost in thought, her tentacles flowing gently in the water. Elena felt a pang in her heart. She knew that soon Lyra would have to return to her duties, and the thought made her anxious. Lyra, Elena began, her voice soft. What will happen when you go back? Lyra turned to her, her eyes filled with understanding. I will have to return to my responsibilities in the council. It's important for my people, but I don't want to leave you. Elena nodded, feeling the weight of their impending separation. I don't want you to go either, but I know how important your work is. They floated in silence for a moment, the beauty of the coral surrounding them contrasting with the heaviness in their hearts. Finally, Lyra spoke, her voice resolute. We need to find a way to make this work. I don't want to lose what we've built together. Elena felt a spark of hope. What if we created a plan to stay connected? We can set dates to communicate, and I can visit whenever I can. We could even work on projects together from afar. Lyra's eyes brightened. That's a great idea. We can use our friendship tokens as reminders of our bond. Whenever we look at them, we'll remember to reach out. With renewed energy, they began to brainstorm how they could keep their friendship alive despite the distance. They decided to create a schedule for regular communication. Every month, they would set aside time for video calls and share updates about their lives. They also planned to collaborate on a project that would benefit both their worlds. As they discussed their ideas, Elena felt a sense of excitement. What if we create an art exchange program? Zathari artists could share their work with humans, and vice versa. It would help our cultures understand each other better. Lyra clapped her tentacles together, her eyes shining. I love that idea. Elena sat at her desk on the Starfinder, staring at the glowing shell that Lyra had given her. It shimmered softly in the dim light of her cabin, reminding her of their promise to stay connected. Since Lyra had returned to Zather Prime, Elena had thrown herself into the art exchange program they had created together. The submissions were rolling in, and excitement buzzed through her as she watched their dream come to life. But despite this success, she still felt a deep sense of longing for her friend. Days turned into weeks, and though they communicated regularly, it wasn't the same as being together. Each time Elena received a message from Lyra, her heart soared. But as soon as she closed the communicator, the silence of her ship would settle back in, and the emptiness would return. She missed Lyra's laughter, her warmth, and the way they could share their thoughts without saying a word. One evening, after a long day of organizing the art submissions, Elena decided to take a break. She swam to the observation deck of her ship, watching the stars twinkle in the vastness of space. The beauty of it all was breathtaking, but it also reminded her of how far away Lyra was. The galaxy felt so big, and the distance between them felt like a heavy weight on her heart. As she gazed out at the stars, a thought struck her. What if she could bring Lyra to her, even if just for a little while? Inspired, Elena rushed back to her cabin and began to brainstorm ideas. She remembered how much Lyra loved stargazing, especially the constellations that were visible from her home planet. If she could create a virtual stargazing experience, they could share it together, even from afar. Elena quickly set to work. She began researching the best star maps and gathering data about the constellations that were visible on Zatha Prime. She looked for ways to create an immersive experience, using her ship's technology. With each passing hour, her excitement grew. This could be a special way to reconnect with Lyra and share a moment that felt like being together again. After several days of hard work, Elena finally completed her project. She had designed a virtual stargazing program that would allow them to explore the night sky together. She set a date for their special session, using a time that would work for both their schedules. With a racing heart, she sent a message to Lyra. I have a surprise for you. Let's stargaze together on the night of the full moon. It will be just like old times. As she hit send, Elena felt a wave of nervousness wash over her. Would Lyra be excited? Would she even have time for this? Elena tried to push her worries aside and waited for a response. Hours felt like days, but finally her communicator buzzed with a reply. Elena, that sounds amazing. I can't wait. I miss you so much. Elena's heart soared as she read Lyra's message. She felt a rush of joy and anticipation. They were going to share a beautiful moment, and it felt like the perfect way to bridge the distance between them. The night of the full moon arrived, and Elena prepared her ship for the stargazing session. She adjusted the lighting, set up the virtual program, and made sure everything was working perfectly. As she waited for Lyra to join, she felt butterflies in her stomach. This was their moment, and she wanted it to be special. Finally, the time came. Elena activated the program and watched as the screen lit up with a stunning view of the night sky. Stars sparkled against the deep blackness of space, and constellations glimmered with life. Just then, she received a call from Lyra. With a smile, Elena accepted the call. Lyra! She exclaimed, her heart racing with happiness. Lyra appeared on the screen, her tentacles glowing softly in the dim light of her home. Elena, this is beautiful, Lyra said, her eyes wide with wonder as she took in the virtual display. I can't believe you did this. I wanted to share the stars with you, Elena replied, feeling a warmth spread through her, just like we used to do. As they navigated the constellations together, Elena felt a sense of peace wash over her. They pointed out familiar shapes and shared stories about the stars. Lyra told Elena about the constellations visible from Zatha Prime, and Elena shared the stories from her own world. It felt like they were together again, exploring the cosmos side by side. This is incredible, Lyra said, her voice filled with emotion. I can't believe we can do this, even from so far away. Elena smiled, feeling a sense of triumph. We can always find a way to connect, no matter the distance. As the moon rose high in the sky, casting a silvery glow over the virtual stars, they took a moment to simply enjoy each other's presence. Elena watched Lyra's face, illuminated by the soft light of her screen, and felt a rush of gratitude. Their friendship was a beacon of hope, shining brightly in the darkness. As they continued to explore the stars, Elena shared her progress on the art exchange program. Lyra listened intently, her eyes sparkling with pride. You've done so much, Elena. I can't wait to see the final results. I couldn't have done it without your support, Elena said honestly. You inspire me to reach for the stars. After hours of stargazing and laughter, the session came to an end. Elena felt a bittersweet twinge in her heart. I wish we could do this every night, she said quietly. Me too, Lyra replied, her voice soft. But this is just the beginning. We can make more memories like this. We'll find ways to connect, no matter what. Elena nodded, feeling hopeful again. You're right. Let's keep planning our next adventures, even from afar. As they prepared to say goodbye, Lyra's expression turned serious. Elena, thank you for this. You've reminded me that distance doesn't have to mean separation. We can always find ways to be together. Elena smiled, her heart swelling with warmth. I'll always be here, no matter how far apart we are. Our friendship is stronger than distance. With one last wave, they ended the call, and Elena sat in silence for a moment, soaking in the joy of their stargazing experience. The glowing shell rested on her desk, a symbol of their promise to always stay connected. As Elena looked out at the stars once more, she felt a renewed sense of hope. No matter what challenges lay ahead, she knew she and Lyra would always find a way back to each other. Their friendship was a light in the darkness, guiding them through the vastness of the galaxy. And with that thought, Elena smiled, feeling ready to face whatever came next. She had a friend who believed in her, and together they could conquer any distance. Elena sat in her cabin on the Starfinder, gazing at the glowing shell that had become a symbol of her friendship with Lyra. After their recent stargazing session, she felt a renewed sense of hope and determination. They had shared a special moment, reminding her that distance could not diminish their bond. But despite this, a familiar ache still lingered in her heart. She missed Lyra's presence, her laughter, and their adventures together. With the art exchange program gaining momentum, Elena had been busy reaching out to more artists from both worlds. The response had been overwhelming, with many eager to participate. But as she worked, she realized that she wanted to do something even more meaningful. She wanted to create a way for their two cultures to connect on a deeper level. One evening, while brainstorming ideas, Elena had a sudden inspiration. What if she organized a virtual art exhibit that showcased the work of both human and Zathari artists? They could invite people from both worlds to attend, allowing them to appreciate the beauty of their differences and find common ground through art. This could be a celebration of their friendship and a way to strengthen the ties between their cultures. Excited by the idea, Elena began to plan the exhibit. She reached out to the artists who had submitted their work, inviting them to participate in the event. She explained her vision, a virtual space where people could explore art from both their worlds, learn about each culture, and even interact with the artist. As the days passed, Elena poured her heart into organizing the exhibit. She designed the virtual space, creating a beautiful gallery that showcased each piece of art. She included descriptions, allowing viewers to understand the stories behind the works. It was a labor of love, and with each detail she added, her excitement grew. Even as she worked, Elena felt a pang of sadness. She wanted Lyra to be part of this project, not just as a friend, but as a collaborator. She knew that Lyra had valuable insights and ideas to share, but with her responsibilities on Zathar Prime, she wasn't sure if she could participate. One evening, as Elena took a break, she sent Lyra a message. I'm organizing a virtual art exhibit. I wanted to celebrate our friendship and our cultures. I wish you could help me with it. She pressed send, her heart racing. Would Lyra be able to join her? Hours passed, and Elena anxiously checked her communicator. Just as she was about to give up hope, she received a reply. Elena, I think this is a wonderful idea. I would love to help. I'll do my best to contribute, even with my duties. Elena's heart soared. Really? That's amazing. We can work together, just like we used to." With renewed energy, they began collaborating on the exhibit. They set up regular video calls, brainstorming ideas and discussing the layout of the virtual gallery. Lyra shared her thoughts on how to best present Zathari art, while Elena provided insights into human perspectives. Together, they crafted a plan that combined their strengths, creating an exhibit that would truly showcase the beauty of both cultures. As they worked, Elena could feel the distance between them shrinking. It was as if they were in the same room again, bouncing ideas off one another and